Welcome to Small Talk. My name is David Shaw. Over the last few weeks I have had the joy and immense privilege of working with a group of teenagers as together we have reflected on Christian discipleship and church membership in particular. Last week we looked at Methodism. We reflected on its history and its organisation. We also looked at its emphases. And I was reminded once again of this key word that runs through the heart of Methodism. It's a big word in terms of its impact and a small word in terms of the number of letters. It's a 3-letter word. It's the word all. John and Charles Wesley were motivated by the impact of this word. It drove everything they did and everything they wrote. So, the more you are aware of this word all, the more you see it in, for example, Charles Wesley's hymns. Take, for example, Father whose everlasting love. It's there in verse 1. In fact, it's the only word that's in every verse. It's there in verse 1, whose grace to all did freely move. And in verse 2, to praise the Lamb who died for all. Verse 3, for all thou hast in Christ prepared sufficient sovereign saving grace. Verse 4, for all he has the atonement made. And as to underline how important this word is, in the final verse, in the final line, you get all twice. And all shall own that thou diedst for all. And so, at the heart of Methodism are the 4 alls. I'm only going to refer to 2 of them in this small talk. All people need to be saved. John and Charles Wesley, but particularly John, knew that everyone needed to be saved. There weren't those people who you could say, oh, well, they're good enough. They're all right. We say it now. I know there are people who are outside the life of faith who are better people than me, but I do know, along with John Wesley, that their lives would be even better if they were in a loving relationship with God in Christ. And John Wesley also knew not only that all people need to be saved, but all people can be saved. So from John Wesley's point of view, there was nobody who was beyond the pale. And so he went to the poor, to those who were forgotten. He went to forgotten places. He went to mines. He went to the dirty places where the church was not going. And he preached the saving love of Jesus Christ. And people in their hundreds came to hear this. Nobody is outside the scope of God's grace. Wesley wasn't going to miss anybody. All is a challenging word today. It means that, like John Wesley, we cannot write anybody off. It means nobody can escape through the net of God's grace. All. It's a word that makes you think. And then it's a word that prompts action.